Hey guys, and today we're going to be doing a video on 10 characters that could beat Saitama, the One Punch Man. It is true that he is one of the strongest characters in all of anime history, but I think, in my opinion, there are certain characters who could beat him in the Bleach universe. And we're going under the rules that Saitama can see the Bleach, the Soul Reapers, even though he shouldn't be able to because he's not a spiritual being, but we're saying he can in this scenario. So number 10 is going to be Rukia, and before you say anything, you might think Rukia has no chance against Saitama, but her new Bonkai that she got recently allows anything in a certain area of herself goes to absolute zero, which, because Saitama is a human, he actually is human, it would just kill him instantly because no one can survive. Even the best of the people cannot survive at absolute zero. So that's why Rukia would just be able to beat him pretty easily. So number 9 is a pretty obvious one if you're up to date on the Bleach manga, is the Yhwach, who is the leader of the Quincy's. Is just powerful as hell anyway, but he can just another main part of his power is that he can predict all the future. So he could just predict the future, and then Saitama couldn't even touch him because he could just set traps. He could do whatever he wants, and he's just an overpowered godly character. So he could beat Saitama pretty easily. And one people don't normally think about is Rose, who's one of the Vizards, and his Bonkai actually, as long as you can hear the music he's playing, which Saitama obviously would be able to, it can create any illusion, and these illusions are so powerful that they can actually hurt the person there, or distract him at least, and Rose could just come in and kill Saitama pretty easily, because Saitama wouldn't be able to see him, wouldn't know anything, and you can just use the illusions to hurt him anyway. And so yeah, Rose would win. And number 7 is Ichigo. Now Ichigo, out of the whole list, is my one that I find one of the maybe 2 that are unlikely, because he's incredibly powerful, but his main power comes from raw speed and raw just attack power, and Saitama just has more. Speed questionable, but the attack Saitama has more. But Ichigo, with his Getsuga Tensho, his final Getsuga Tensho, could pull it off and win, but that's still questionable. So my number 6 was Sui-Feng, which sounds weird at first, but her Shikai, if she was able to hit him twice, so Saitama wasn't really focusing at the very start of the battle, and she went right in with the Shikai, hit him twice very quickly, so Saitama would have been straight just dead, because that's how her Shikai works. It's a bit overpowered, and yeah, so if she was right into the battle and Saitama wasn't focusing at the start, she could pull it off, but that's a questionable one as well, like the Ichigo. So number 5 is Aizen, which is a pretty obvious one for most people who are fans of Bleach. Is his Shikai is a complete hypnosis, so he could basically just confuse Saitama, and we know Saitama isn't the smartest of people, so he could just confuse him and then just kill him. It wouldn't be that hard. And so Aizen has got regenerative powers as well, so he could just be very powerful and just sit there. Even if Saitama got a lucky punch on him, he'd probably survive it and can continue to fight. And my number 4 pick was Ichibei. If you don't know who Ichibei is, he's the leader of the Royal Guard, and his Bonkai, or his Shin-Yuki, as he says it, because his is the first Zanpakuto, so it doesn't have a Bonkai. It can turn anyone's power into the power of anything he thinks of. So if he could get the drop on Saitama and do it quickly, he could just turn Saitama's power into nothing, like as he did to Yhwach, who's one of the strongest characters. He can just make his power into an ant, and then Saitama couldn't even do anything to Ichibei. and Ichibei could just crush him. So it's a pretty easy one to do. My number 3 pick was Shunsui, which, if you not exactly, you have to be very known on how his Bankai works. So his Bankai has 4 different abilities, and the first 2 won't really do anything to Saitama, but I guess they will do some damage. They're not going to kill him. But his Bankai, his third Bankai ability, it covers in a certain distance away from him, covers everything in water, and you can't move or do anything in the water to attack each other until one of you runs out of Reishi, which is Bleach's version of like spirit energy, that kind of stuff. Until one runs out, and if you run out, you just die from like pressure and drowning. So Saitama has no spiritual presence, so instantly he would run out, and he can't get out of the water, and would just suffocate to death because he's human and he can't breathe underwater. So my number 2 pick was Yamamoto, who is overall he's a very powerful character, but the way I think he could beat Saitama is his Bankai, because his Bankai, when he activates it, it creates a fire all around him, which is 10 million degrees Celsius, 10 million degrees, or the same temperature of the sun, surface of the sun. And Saitama, he's very powerful, but he cannot survive. He couldn't survive on the sun. That's questionable, but in my opinion, I don't think he could survive on the sun. So I'm going to say he would die in that scenario, or he could stay away, but he couldn't defeat Yamamoto, and Yamamoto could just keep going after him. And Yamamoto has all different abilities that he could also use to fight Saitama. But this is my most likely way, or easiest way, to beat him. And now I have some honorable mentions. So my number 1 pick is Barragan, the second is Sparta, number 2 is Sparta, because his Rexurane, it rots anything that's near it or touches it, which means if Saitama went to punch him, he doesn't have like a physical body or anything, so it would just start dissolving his hand or aging or like rotting it, and it would just rot him to death, and he would just die. So there's no way that Saitama could beat Barragan, and he controls time. So if he could just touch Saitama at least once, he could just control all like aging and stuff. So he could just teleport around the place. So yeah, that's my top 10 list on Bleach, people who could possibly beat Saitama in a fight, 1-on-1. See? Thanks for watching, and please like, subscribe, and have a nice day.